You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Running Wild Podcast. I'm your co-host, Rich. Alongside me, as always, my co-host, Runz.
Yep. What it do?
Nice right back. I just want to remind you guys that we're being brought to you in partnership with lastwordonsports.com. You can catch us on Last Word Radio on iTunes. You can also catch us on the W2M network, Wrestling to the Max, and you can catch us on our own channel on iTunes under Running Wild Podcast. If you have a second, just go over under Running Wild Podcast on iTunes and rate and subscribe to our episodes. You can catch Wrestling to the Max on their own channel, and also you can go to their Facebook page and follow them there. You can follow us on Twitter at RunningWildLWOS, and you can send any emails with trivia or comments over to runningwildpodcast@gmail.com. All right, so we are actually taping on the morning of Roadblock. And, how are you feeling, man?
Right before we get into Roadblock, I want to touch on perhaps the biggest news of the last 2 weeks, and I kicked myself all week that I forgot to mention it last week, is that they have updated the TVs on the announce table. Have you noticed this? They have like a smooth covering with a handle, and I was like, oh my God, this is what we've been calling for 5 years. Hey, technology is a little more updated than a square box TV. There we go.
I wonder what got them there. What was the final breaking point?
They were like, hey, we could probably upgrade this a little bit right now.
I really did notice that. I don't know why I haven't even thought to bring it up.
That was the first thought. I was like, oh man, Rich is going to be so happy about this. But
I really was too. I remember watching it going, oh, look at those rounded edges.
Yeah, it's so much smarter too. A little bit safer,
But the other thing is if you do that, right, then because if you're going to, you could have a fake one, right?
Yeah, that, you blow up or something.
An LCD, right? It's, thin looking. And you can just have someone smash the TV and, and it looks better than their...
than a square one just bouncing all over the place.
I'm just so happy because there's certain objects that when some they're used as weapons, they come off looking as kind of odd because they have to hold back because it's actually dangerous, like the sledgehammer. Yeah. It always bothered me.
You have to stop yourself.
But they also oh, I have a sledgehammer, and instead of swinging it, right, I'm gonna hold the hammer head and I'm just going like this. Come on. Even in the video game, I would just love to see the sledgehammer taken and swung at someone's rib.
Just like a baseball bat straight to the jaw.
Broken. It would be amazing.
Yeah. Except that guy's life would be over, and
Man, in big news. I don't know, whatever. But have you been seeing this? This Hogan stuff is ridiculous. It's the open letters he's getting are my favorite part. I don't even care about anything else.
I heard on Cheap Heat they were talking about how, or I think it was Cheap Heat, how he's trying to claim that Hulk Hogan and Terry Bollea are not the same person. What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
I thought Terry Bollea ran wild, but I guess that was only Hogan, and it's so then, whoa!
I don't know.
Who was
he legitimate? Did he or did he not legitimately say that Hulk Hogan has a bigger dick than Terry Bollea?
I believe that was said.
Right? I'm pretty sure 100% that's exactly what he said.
I just don't. So who was in Suburban Commando? Was that Hulk Hogan or Terry Bollea?
He's Hulk Hogan all the time.
Who did you meet?
I don't know. I guess hopefully I met Hulk Hogan. I don't know. Which one is the racist one? I don't know.
Oh, by the way, just on a total side note, just this is like, but you had the Jimmy Hart experience after you met Hogan. Like, oh, come on, brother, go talk to my boy Jimmy. Hey, baby. Did you hear Lethal on Coco Cabano's podcast?
Yes.
And did you hear his amazing Jimmy Hart impression?
Yes, I did.
Come on, baby. And I just love the idea that like he calls everyone, what was it, like darling?
Darling, yeah.
Oh, it's okay, darling. And I'm just like, wait a minute, what? Because
straight Southern.
that's weird. Yeah, no, but that's fine. But you better not call me darling. Like that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that made me laugh. I also saw an amazing with random wrestling non sequiturs. I saw an amazing picture photoshopped of instead of the $1 Million Man and Virgil, it's Donald Trump and Ben Carson. Super excited. I mean, I love stuff like that. All right, you know what? Before I forget, and we get into like our very recent wrestling stuff, I went to another one of those independent shows around Brooklyn, Fighting Spirirt Wrestling, and I again another date night because nothing's better than nothing says I love you to your wife like let's go to watch some independent wrestling. And I gotta tell you, it was really great. This is like the third show I've gone to. And what was really cool was they ended up having this like angle where the New York State Sporting Authority basically was like taking away ownership or like taking the book away from the owner and giving it to like this swarmy manager, PJ Stackpole. So now he's like being real shady up there, and it looks like the champion might be turning heel because he's like getting help from this new heel GM. So it actually makes me want to go to the next event. Like I'm like,
yeah, that sounds cool.
Pretty excited. We're moving up there. We got one of the next event is something called the Lions Den, where they have a battle royal, and whoever wins
it's like Money in the Bank, right?
Well, it's like the Royal Rumble, but it's like Royal Rumble really. Whoever wins gets the challenge, but you challenge for any title. So yeah, it's like Money in the Bank and Royal Rumble together.
Yeah.
So looks like it's going to be a good show. It's called the Lions Den. So I'm looking forward to going. Seeing a couple guys show up. Got Chris Rex, who's a member of Snot, and he's kind of been hyping up that he's trying to take the top spot there that night. So I'm looking forward to the next one. Hopefully. You can join. Maybe we'll do a special live broadcast after the show. But I'm usually half asleep at 11 o'clock, so I don't know if I can handle that. Yeah. Oh, and I didn't tell you guys that last time I saw Masada, the Combat Zone wrestler. So I'm online getting beer, and I look, and I had just seen him on Ring of Honor TV. So I don't know him that well, but I did like a double take. And I'm looking at him for half a second. And the dude's like, are you looking at me? You're looking at me weird. Is there a problem? Now, he is large. And, podcasting, wrestling, writing Rich did not respond. Little scared bitch Rich went, no, I'm sorry. I was just trying to look at the ring, actually. Like,
oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
Because I realized at that moment that I was not 100% positive it was him, right? And if I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were," I don't know. When he said, if he would have said, "Hey, is everything cool?"
You could have just been like, "Oh, no, yeah, like that was just like I don't know." Like
if he would have said, "Is everything
cool?" Just trying to look at the ring. Just trying to see past you.
Yo, the way he said to me, I don't know if I've communicated how.
Because I can see the look on your face.
Because you're looking at me weird.
Because I've seen the puzzled look on your face, and I can see the exact look that you were staring at him with, and I believe that that's warranted because I can picture just how you were staring, and he was probably like, "Yo, is this everything all right, man? Like, what's going on with you?"
Yeah, but if so Tony Mamaluke was at that show. if it was Tony Mama Luke saying that to me, I would have been like, no, it's cool. Like,
You were just legitimately scared.
I was legitimately scared. I was just like,
Okay.
I don't want to mess with this guy. I'm gonna go back to my team. And then I Googled it, and then I saw his face, and I was like, oh, that's 1,000% him. But I was too much of a bitch to like even be able to say anything.
Pets frightened you.
And the only thing that
You're
the
a
last
grown
thing
man who's getting frightened by a wrestler at a wrestling show.
the last thing I'll say about the show is that I was upset when I looked on the walls and saw that the Nasty Boys were wrestling the next night, and I wasn't going to be there. Or the next week, it was the next Friday, and I wasn't going to be there. I was like, oh, the Nasty Boys.
Yeah. And I'm sure you missed such a thrilling show.
But you and I, speaking into this week's news, you guys should please go over to lastwordonsports.com and check out my latest article about Joey Ryan's appearance at WrestlePro. This guy, you guys, the YouPornplex and everything that he's done with kind of gotten that video viral. Well, at the show last weekend, he did that YouPornplex move to kind of like a centipede of 11 other guys during a battle royal, and he ended up dumping all of them over the top rope with the one move. So I was able to sit down with the first man who had a grasp on his junk, the revolting blob, and he was gracious enough to give me some time and tell me his thoughts about what it was like to be involved in that. So you guys should definitely go check it out. It's an interesting read. He's got some responses that you may not see coming when it comes to being a recipient of that move. And I guess I'll leave it at that, but I'm excited for the next WrestlePro show in New York and Brooklyn. You and I will be going, and none other than Big Bopper Belding Richard Haskins will be there. Dennis Haskins. So, I mean...
Yeah, his name is Richard Belding, not...
I hope that he comes out and goes, hey, what's going on here?
You know he will. He's going to be ill, too, because he's just going to be a big, huge fan, like, just super hyped, enjoying the shit.
To hear, like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen.
I feel like I'm on Saved by the Bell.
My heart's going to burst.
I'm just sitting in the classroom.
I am actually more excited about him, and I'm sorry to all the professional wrestlers
any of
on
the
that
matches there.
Yeah.
When do you get to see Mr. Belding? Like, wrestling, yeah, whatever, that's always there, but Mr. Belding, kidding me?
God, I'm so excited. Okay.
Jesus.
All right, that's enough about weird random stuff that I do. So I guess we could probably just start talking about Roadblock and how Raw kind of fit into it. Or do you want to
No, there was nothing on Raw that didn't lead directly to Roadblock or somewhere thereabouts. One of the biggest things from Raw that I don't believe is going to Roadblock is the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn stuff. But now here's my biggest problem.
Whoa.
They're not going to give them a one-on-one match.
You don't... I mean...
It's going to be like they had the tag team match on SmackDown with The Miz and Neville. They said Neville claimed that he wanted an IC title match at Mania. Owens just left The Miz to lose, so he has a beef. And then everything I've heard is that they're going to have a multi-man match. But then I saw on WWE.com that they had an interview with just them two. Then in Rolling Stone or something, they had an interview with just them two. But in that article, they said it's not guaranteed that it's going to be just them two. There may be more involved in the match. And I was like, but you're hyping up this so much with, it's just about them two. Why are you going to waste it?
What if you... Okay, the only thing I can see them being able to get out of this is you have the pay-per-view after... I forgot what it's called this year because they always change the name. The pay-per-view after WrestleMania is always kind of like a rehash of the matches, right? So if you have Zayn win a Mania, right? Then you set up, then Owens can ask for his rematch, and then.
But why would you want that match on Extreme Rules instead of WrestleMania? What I mean?
You're preaching to the choir here. I completely am in agreement with you. But
I know that, but that's what I'm saying. These two would kill it at WrestleMania, and they have to be yo, come on, just let us do this. But make the multi-man match in the U.S. or something. I don't want to see that in the IC. Like, just let these two fight. There's just too many one-on-one matches. Like, everything else is one-on-one except for the Divas. Like the world title one-on-one, Brock and Ambrose, Y2AJ, Taker Shane. Everything is one-on-one.
It could be one of those like, old school WrestleManias where you have like 14, 15 matches on the card.
See, like, I would be fine with that if you gave me Zayn and Owens one-on-one, but then Neville and The Miz can have something else to do. But I don't know, put those guys in a battle royal or the number one contenders match for something. Do something with anyone else. Like, I just want to see Zayn and Owens wrestle one-on-one. I mean, either way, we'll get the interaction, but it's not the same.
Yeah, I really want to see the both of them just square off against each other.
They're gonna kill it. Can
you imagine? I mean, it's just crazy to think that these dudes have been basically running the same angle for like their whole lives.
Yep. Crazy that like we watched them in a 1,000-seat arena fight one-on-one and could now watch them in a 100,000-seat arena fight one-on-one. Yeah. It's kind of nuts.
It makes me think back, like back in the day when you had like the WrestleMania cards that had 14 matches, and I mean you're not giving a lot of time to them, but
well, yeah, that's the biggest problem. But there's got to be another match for these guys. Like isn't that what the Battle Royal is for? Like, like The Miz has not had a big enough or a good enough role on WWE TV to have a WrestleMania match. If it's not going to be in the Jericho AJ stuff, then why is he going to have now just a thrown together match? Neville, yeah, I get it. You want to see him on the show, put him in the Battle Royal. Let him do some cool stuff in the Battle Royal. Let like Luke Harper pick on him or something. Have a David versus Goliath match. Do something. You don't need to throw them in this match and congest it and ruin what could be, Savage Steamboat.
I don't really understand why. I don't see why you need to add anyone. I really don't.
You don't. Like, they have a one-on-one history for 20 years, and you have it on your WWE TV for the past 2 years. So like, just use that. You don't need anything else. You don't need anyone else. The Miz, like, are you kidding me? He's going to ruin this.
It really just makes me upset because I just don't even know.
Like, the interviews that are just with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, just about Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. So why are you going to muddy that with other people? You're selling the history of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Don't put anyone else in this match. Just keep it Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. But if Sami Zayn is on Roadblock tonight and Kevin Owens is in Atlantic City, then maybe something happens where he faces The Miz and, he starts a beef with The Miz. So I could see them using Roadblock to, add another person to this match, but I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I'm. Maybe they won't. I'm gonna try to.
I hope not, man. I really hope not.
Because I don't know. It becomes more appealing. You get more out of it, and then I know that you're gonna. The problem is, what do you do with Dolph and all these guys if you're not including them?
Why can't they be in like the number one contender match for the IC title, or like why aren't they in the Battle Royal?
Yeah, I mean, are they going to do a Battle Royal? Like, are we guaranteed this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't see why not.
I mean, are they just holding off saying anything because?
Yeah, they don't need to announce it.
It'll be interesting to see what's going on. I'm actually really kind of hyped about Roadblock tonight. I have a soccer game too, so I'm a little torn, but I don't know. Maybe I'll split screen the whole event.
Yeah, there you go. No, I mean, it should be good. There's only, I think, 5 matches now that are actually announced, so that'll give it, some decent time. Usually it's about 2 hours, maybe a little over.
Because I feel like what they should do with Owens is have him win. Not Owens, I'm sorry, Ryback. I didn't mean to confuse them at all. Is to have Ryback win not the U.S. title, but the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Nah, I'm fine with him. Oh, see, I forgot about that match. So they already have that David versus Goliath thing. But, I'm kind of fine with him being with Kalisto and having that match, and let Strowman win the Andre the Giant or someone like that,
I don't really like to see Strowman walk away, but I know that it would make him look a lot stronger if they're going to continue his push. I just feel like the whole, for me at this point, and I said this last week, until they show me that they're actually going to do something with the Wyatts, I'm disinterested.
Yeah.
I'm
and
kind of excited about this.
Because I feel the same way, but it's just the hope of like, all right, well, these guys are good enough that maybe they can still do something. Maybe they can salvage it.
All right. What other matches do we have?
We have the NXT Tag Team Championships, the Revival against Enzo and Cass. And I don't know why you put this match on this show if it's not going to be a title switch.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know what you say.
Even if you have a match at the NXT special in Dallas where it's like Enzo and Cass versus the Revival versus American Alpha versus the Vaudevillains or something, and then Enzo and Cass lose it there, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Just let them win the titles. Let them get their moment on NXT because they're not long for the main roster. They got to be there soon.
One would hope. If they don't win this match, then I don't see them ever being moved up. But I've been reading. I mean, look what's going on with Breeze, man. I don't know.
Yeah, at this point, just dead.
I don't even know if I miss seeing Breeze at least win once in a while. I mean, I remember when we went to the NXT show, I had an issue kind of with him losing to Liger.
Yeah.
And I understood that Liger is like a legend, and that Breeze still gets a rub from performing well against him. But I really like that character. I think it's so over the top and ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, they just killed him on the main roster when he lost. Or like they had the feud with Dolph, and he had Summer Rae, and then that was it. The feud ended, the storyline ended, and him and Summer Rae broke up. That was it. He was off TV. So after that match, and aside from Tyler Breeze and his, I guess it speaks to most NXT guys, because who from NXT has been there and is killing it? Charlotte, Kevin Owens. That's really it. Sasha and Becky are getting their moments, but the crowd is already, like numbing to them. Sasha was hot as hell when she first came up, and now she's just a regular diva.
And I don't understand, because I don't mind. Like, I feel like I'm not upset that this is how slowly they've gone with Sasha.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think that's the right thing to do. I think that
100. You can't do anything else. You can't have two women's champions, or So she has to bide her time while Charlotte is having her run.
Did you hear that? I'm not sure if it's gonna be permanent, but Team Bad teamed with Cameron.
Yeah, that's not gonna be. Cameron's terrible.
You don't think so? I mean, just having her around there.
Nah. I mean, that was like 2 weeks ago, and so she hasn't been on Raw or SmackDown, so I'm pretty sure that was just a one-off. Yeah, so after that tag team match, we have New Day against the League of Nations for the tag titles, which is really, 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 really strange. I don't understand. Like, so my kids at work are 7th grade, so they're 10, 11, whatever that is, and they were like, "Oh, I'm rooting for," like, they hate New Day, and I
Really?
was like, and yeah, they hate them. So then yesterday they were like, "Oh, I'm rooting for New Day," and I was like, "What?" They were like, "Yeah, well, I hate Sheamus way worse than I hate New Day," and I was like, "Well, see, this is what WWE does."
So just
Yeah,
trying to
okay, here now, children have no choice but to
Huh.
root for the New Day.
I mean, I told you my brother was doing like the awkward New Day
Yeah, yeah,
Biggie gyrations, at the event.
yep.
I mean, I think, yeah, I guess if you're trying to make them faces going into Mania, and we go back to
Which
my original match of a TLC
it's
match.
clearly going to be no TLC.
Come on. Really? You don't think so?
Nah,
What do you think it's going to be?
it's just them and League of Nations.
That's it? You don't
Yeah.
no Dudleys, no Usos?
No.
Vince loves having the Usos yell at like at big events.
Yeah, as shown by the fact that they haven't been on TV in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that when they come out of Mania, they pop even bigger.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm on top. Sorry,
So
I
yeah.
recently downloaded all the
Well,
theme
we
songs.
also didn't talk about who we thought was going to win. No, did we say? Did we both say Enzo and Cass?
I think that was just implied, yeah.
Okay, so
But
Enzo and Cass in the first. I don't see any reason why New Day loses the belts here.
No.
It doesn't really make sense. Even if you want to have a change so that like the match at Mania is meaningful, but you don't need that.
Is that dirt sheet? Is that dirt sheet report about Barrett leaving a couple of weeks ago? Like saying
I
he's not
don't
going to
know.
sign his contract. Is that real now? Because I feel like it came out. Okay, he's not going to sign his contract. Oh, let's make him wrestle.
Well,
Because he hadn't been
I think that was just, the timing of his injury being fully healed and him being able to work. But uh, I don't know, because after that came out, he said like, "Oh, I'm under contract at WWE, and I'll address that at a more appropriate time." So it wasn't like he said, "No, what are you talking about?" He kind of just said, I'll get to it. So that leaves the door open for it to be true or not be true. But I don't know. Like, can he really go and be an MMA fighter? Right? Because that's what the question or the rumor said. So I really don't know.
I mean, you can join an MMA organization and just never fight for them.
Yeah, but
You
who would
could do
do that? Who would leave wrestling to then just go sit and not do anything in the MMA world?
That's a Punk move. Oh,
Good one. Good one.
thanks. All right.
No disrespect, CM Punk. I love you. Hopefully you come back one day. But
Yeah, no.
I also would love to see you fight. So
Nobody would be a bigger mark for him coming back, I don't think.
Just in case CM Punk is listening to our
in terms of pop
lovely
for all our
podcast.
listeners, obviously first it's Mr. Belding for me, and then second would be CM Punk returning. Oh man, I would love even a WrestleMania moment backstage where like there's some nonsense going on and Belding walks in.
with Mr. Belding and CM Punk.
Why isn't it? Yeah. Oh my.
He's been on Raw.
God.
Like he's been.
Yeah. But he's got to do the hey, what's going on here?
He's done that. He's definitely done that on Raw. Or Zack Ryder's show, 100%.
Oh well, yeah.
All
right.
Yeah, so then we have, which is a pretty nice little addition. Awesome, especially
Natalya and
considering, they're in Toronto, Natalya and Charlotte. Because that's going to be a phenomenal match, and it'll be a great reaction because you're in Natalya's home country, and Charlotte is great at playing that just bitch heel. So I mean, it should really be good.
This is a tough one. I think I'm gonna have to call it to Stat Wife on this. Charlotte versus Natalya in Toronto, which is Natalya's home, for the women's title.
Country.
Who do you root for? Neither one. I'm not sure. Neither one.
That was an emphatic neither one.
Amazing. And her hatred for Charlotte, and I'm pretty sure she blames Charlotte for hurting Nikki's neck, gets her to root for the person that she hates most on Total Divas.
Nice.
I'm not sure if there's anybody she dislikes more than Natalya, and it's amazing.
Just you're talking about Nikki
Oh, she
Bella's
hates Brie.
career. She's gonna start crying.
Oh, I mean, and you know, the Total Divas last week, Nikki Bella was, you know, you finally get to see her reaction to the injury, you know, and how it's pushing between the C3 and C4 of her spine. By the way,
She
I just got
may never be able to wrestle again.
that sounds like laughter in the background. That's actually
Yes.
just overwhelmed
Mission
feelings.
accomplished.
It's happening, by the way. It's currently happening. This is the second week in a row we've had a live on air. Amazing.
That was a setup too.
This one was kind of mean. I feel a little guilty about this, but you know.
All for the ratings.
Yep.
It's best for business, Lauren. It's best for business.
We do it for the fans.
Yeah. So
we have 2 matches left. Right?
Then after
who do you think
that,
will win next? Obviously Charlotte.
I mean, clearly Charlotte, yeah. And then we have Bray and Brock.
Yeah.
Which I mean, yes, Bray Wyatt's character has not been done any justice, but I still love the guy. He's still very good and entertaining in the ring, and you know, hopefully, my hope is that they someday realize what they have and do something with him. So I will enjoy this for what it is. You know, it's just a one-off. It could have been the WrestleMania match. Thank God it's not. And you know, it should be a good physical brawl. I'm excited to see if how Brock manhandles Bray. You know, because he's one of the bigger guys he's been in the ring with. So you know, it should be very interesting.
You know, I was reading a report from one of the recent house shows. Maybe it was even like last night or something, that Brock took on Harper.
The Wyatt family.
Yeah, and then ended up being like a handicap match, but Bray never ever tagged in. So I mean, I think they're doing an interesting job of protecting him against Brock. You know, before the match, I hope that Brock doesn't. I don't want to see like a real just suplex city killing. You know,
No. Back and forth, and Bray wears him down a little, gets the upper hand because you know the Wyatts interfere, and then I'll be fine if we get a DQ. You know, that doesn't really matter. But like, I think it'll end either way with Brock suplexing everyone, and you know, just wiping out the Wyatt family to walk out strong.
I want somebody to get a push where they have like a something city, you know, but it'd be something something super.
How about this? Did you? I don't know if they used it on TNA this week, but last week they were saying Kurt Angle is taking people to Suplex Boulevard, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, what is wrong with you? Why would you say that your biggest wrestler, the Olympic gold medalist, is taking people to Suplex Boulevard when you know that WWE is pushing the hell out of this Suplex City stuff? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?"
No, but you know what's even worse than that, right? That let's
call it like the Boulevard of Belly to Bellies or something like that.
Look, it's not even that. Let's make something very clear. WWE came up with it first, right?
Yes.
Okay. A city contains
exactly hundreds of boulevards.
So TNA openly goes, "We're going to steal your idea, but admittedly we say that we're smaller." And I heard. Did you hear that? This ties in, I guess, during the Hogan trial or something. Hogan was quoted as saying like, "Oh, I worked for TNA. You guys probably never heard of them. They're a small-time company."
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
See, well, company-wise, whatever, they're a shit show. But in ring product, it has gotten much better.
No, it has. It has.
So you know that it's tough to erase the past, and it is something I struggle with weekly. But when I watch it, I enjoy it.
Suplex Boulevard. God damn it.
And then we have Triple H and Ambrose, and this should be fun. You know, they're not gonna half-ass this. You know, they're gonna go at it. They're gonna give us a good match. And okay, so as we were watching Raw or after Raw, we were discussing how I told you I was gonna talk myself into Ambrose winning, And then Ambrose ended Raw hitting Triple H with the DDT, and that kind of was like, no, never mind, that's not gonna happen. But what if it does? What if Ambrose wins? What if? Okay, so this is where I was going before he hit the DDT. What if like Reigns comes out and like accidentally hits Ambrose, and then maybe Brock comes out and accidentally hits Triple H, and Ambrose wins, and then you have a reason for these four to be in the match. You know, they've all interacted, so you could do it.
So then you could have, then that makes more. Then you know what? Then you could have Zayn and Owens sitting 1-on-1.
You know, you don't have Ambrose. You don't have Ambrose with the, for the people like you who are like, oh, I don't believe this. You get rid of that because now it's a fatal 4-way. Or you could just put the belt on Ambrose and have Brock versus Ambrose for the belt. But I don't think that's what you're going to do.
No.
But I seriously think they could go with a fatal 4-way. Like that might be their best move because people are going to boo the hell out of Roman Reigns. You don't want that to end WrestleMania. So now you can have Ambrose win it. You can have Brock win it. You can do other things. There are times when it is good to stick to your guns and stick to your. Roman Reigns could very well be a franchise player, but he's not right now, and the crowd is rebelling against it. So either you have to embrace that and turn him heel and do something with it, or you have to get away from it again. Because for whatever reason it is, people do not like Roman Reigns, and he doesn't click. And until he does, he can't be your main star unless he's a heel.
All right. Well, when I saw the DDT on Monday Night Raw, like my heart sank. I wish it makes me like there are moments like that just make me wish that I really wasn't. I wasn't smart enough to the business,
you
because
weren't aware of. You didn't have 30 years worth of training.
And I start to think like, Triple H? Every wrestler knows that, right? Obviously, if a fan knows that happens, then it usually means the other person's gonna get the upper hand.
Yeah.
Then, like Triple H knows that, right? And what if Triple H is like,
exactly.
This is where the mind games, like, they should call this WWE mind games.
Is this just Wrestling 101, or is this using Wrestling 101, or is this them using Wrestling 101 to make us, distract us? Because they have done, where the Usos get the upper hand and then they win on the pay-per-view. They do that sometimes. So I don't know. I really, really don't know.
But the only thing that stops me from thinking that is like, I don't know. At least Triple H's ego. I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah, I think it's. Like we said, they've been building this entire Roman Reigns Triple H story for like 2 years. The authority and everything like that. So this is a logical conclusion. But you have a better conclusion staring you in the face. Ambrose, like, it says so much that Ambrose was in a feud with Reigns or whatever, with Triple H, that turned into a feud with Reigns, that turned into a feud with Brock, that gave him one of the biggest WrestleMania matches of the year versus Brock Lesnar and completely changed their plans. So that says a lot about how Ambrose was able to connect, or how over he was able to get in such a short period of time, that now you have a star waiting to be made. Make it, use it. Don't let it cool off. If Ambrose walks out of WrestleMania with the title, I think that would be, one of the craziest ends to your main show that you could hope for.
Yeah. All right. So I'll say it this way: Dean Ambrose, his character is so appealing at this point that, despite the fact that I normally would like to root for a heel, I want to see Ambrose win.
Because to me, he's so different, man. Yeah. He's just like, when he talks, you can tell that he's not cutting, the typical WWE promo. His voice levels change at different times than everyone else. He just yells random things. He's Dean Ambrose. He's not WWE's version of Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
And as much like his promo style doesn't connect with the audience as often as the WWE style does, because I think people are programmed to like, okay, he's going to say this, then he's going to use this, but so when he yells certain things or he reacts certain ways, people don't always know how to react yet, I feel, because sometimes they're a little bit quiet. But then he has the great skill of yelling at the right time, and everyone gets right behind him and back into his anger and his rage. And so he can do whatever he wants. He has a unique pass because he's so crazy that it doesn't matter how he acts or what he says or how he says it. Oh, yep, that's Dean Ambrose. He's just nuts.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. They could do anything, and that is the beauty. Yes, Triple H will probably win with a pedigree in the center of the ring, but, hey, for the next 8 hours, 10 hours of our life, we're going to enjoy the fact that maybe we can get some crazy things happening on this show.
Well, let's hope so, man. I'd really like to see, WrestleMania is already shaping up to be better than I thought it was going to be.
Yes.
Like 2 weeks ago even. But I would still like it to get that much better.
This Roadblock may be the best thing that's happened to them, because it gave them a big show feel for a build to WrestleMania. Yes, you're not having anyone who's going to have a WrestleMania match maybe interact or, have a match on this show, but the storylines are still all intertwining, and they're all over the place. Yes, Dean Ambrose is fighting Brock Lesnar, but also for the past month he's been feuding with Triple H, so this makes perfect sense. This is the purpose of the WWE Network, and this is a perfect use of the WWE Network. This is what it's for. Look at what you can do.
This should have been rest. This is rest area. This is when you've been driving 50 miles and you need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's not a roadblock, all right? It's a rest
stop.
area.
Yeah.
It's you walk in and they've got like the great food court, clean bathrooms, you get gas, you're really in a good mood. This is what this show is going to do, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's getting you ready for WrestleMania, and I think they're going to do a good job. We've talked about the roster and the talent of the roster for since the beginning of our show, and they never really put on bad wrestling shows. They usually tell good stories, and now they have the storylines and those things to go with it. So that's what makes it even better.
All right, from your mouth, God's ears. Let's hope this
to Vince's ears.
All right.
So I also is that it for WWE? I think so, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I also finished the first season of Lucha Underground, and it was pretty ridiculous. It was really, really cool to just be able to watch the pay-per-view. It was just on the show. It's just the regular, it's the season finale. So it was it was two weeks. The last week was 2 hours. Very, very good card. Really good show. But one of the things, you had Johnny Mundo against Alberto El Patron. Right?
Yeah.
So Alberto Del Rio. And, spoiler alert if you haven't watched the first season, and don't worry. So Johnny Mundo wins with the help of Melina.
Nice.
And I said, what the hell? Are you kidding me? But then the next season, she's already gone, and they have somebody else in her role. But I was like, wow, this is really cool.
I need to get my hands on that. I'll be honest with you, I'm probably going to end up waiting till
Yeah, till you have a nice long vacation.
Yep. Sit over there.
Because you need to. And, one of the things that I realized while I was watching it, I sent you that video of Angelico, with the drop kick, and so right before that, he did the same thing but across body, and I was like, what the hell? They're giving this away too often. It's back-to-back weeks, but it was 4 months in between. I just watched it 2 days in a row, So I was like, why does he keep doing this stuff every week? They're gonna destroy it. And then I realized, like, oh, there was 12 shows in between those two.
The the high cross body to me is one thing because
Yes, you're landing on people.
like the drop kick, like
That
I'm
was
gonna break a wrist if I jump from that far.
That drop kick was incredible. He flew. He absolutely flew.
Oh, I was actually scared when I started to start happening. I was like, no.
You get that rush, like that roller coaster rush, like just while he's in the air, like oh.
Yeah, that roller coaster rush is this man's going to die.
But yeah, so I mean, if you haven't watched Lucha Underground, please do. We talk about it every week, or at least I do. It's a must watch. Great show, great stories, really intriguing stuff, and like it has led me to like the WWE video game when I play my universe, like loving using Callisto and downloading some guys for like, oh, this is phenomenal. I know what stories I could tell. I know what I could use it. Like it's made my wrestling life so much better.
Oh, I need to jump in.
Yeah, you need to get on it. We'll talk about the possibilities of that, off air.
So then, do you want to do TNA? I feel like this week was a little lackluster.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't watch it. It was the Kurt Angle farewell stuff, which I don't really care about because he's quote-unquote retiring, but he said that he's not retiring.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means. He said he doesn't want to go back to TNA, so I don't know what that means. Is he going to show up in WWE for a match? Is he just going to – I don't know. Like, he doesn't have any other options.
Hopefully he starts cruising the independents and catch him on a Friday night here in Brooklyn. Yeah, I didn't watch. I'll be honest, I didn't watch it this week. I read like the match listing beforehand, and I was uninterested in. I want to see EC3. I want to see.
Yeah, he wasn't there. Hardy wasn't there, so it was kind of just.
The guys who have piqued my interest. I mean, other than Beer Money, I think Beer Money fought, but I wasn't really that interested.
Well, one thing we can definitely touch on is I watched that 106-minute match between Trevor Lee and Roy Wilkins, and my goodness, yes, the entire thing. I don't know how it's possible. How do you wrestle for an hour and 45 minutes? Yes, it was a little slow paced, and they didn't do anything, too excruciating, but they had a run in for a while, and then, but an hour and 45 minutes? Are you kidding me?
How was the crowd?
Into it the entire time.
The entire time.
Yep. The announcer was not my favorite because when he would get hyped, he would be like, "Oh my God, it's that!" And he would just talk like a girl the entire time. And I was like, "What? Like, stop, please! You're doing this on purpose. Stop! Like, change your voice back, dude." But it was really good. You have to watch it because as a wrestling fan, I did not feel like I could allow myself to not watch this. Trevor Lee is in TNA, and I know that he's good. So that's what made me like, okay, I can watch this. If it was two nobodies, I wouldn't really care. But at least I know this guy. And it's his last match for this company. If he loses, he can never wrestle there again. So, there's a cool storyline to it, and it was a good match, man. Like I don't understand. Like I said, props to these guys because how you wrestle for almost 2 hours is beyond me. Like, whose idea was that? Why? Who said like, yo, let's go an hour and 45 minutes? Why? Like, was that just listen? We cannot go any longer than this, or we'll die. Like, I don't know why. Why was it that? I don't know.
I hope that really what happened was that they didn't get the heads up from the back that they needed to end the match. They just kept going.
Just like, all right, well, I guess we'll just keep going.
Like somebody forgot to send the message in.
Like was that the main event of that show? Like did they start it at 10 o'clock and not end until 12? Like what did they do? How much? Just imagine you're like, oh, this is the first match of the show. Like, sorry, so this is imagine. They didn't say anything. It was just a no time limit match. So now, like, what if you just showed up to this show, and you're hyped for this title match, and first match of the show, they came out, started brawling, whatever, and then that was it. You watched that match, and they were like, "All right, guys, have a nice night. Thanks for coming to the show. I would be like, oh shit, okay, yeah,
Um,
that's freaking ridiculous.
why don't we? I have a way to find this out. Statwife does not know the match is 106 minutes.
Perfect.
I'm going to put it on.
Yep.
And be like, oh, I heard this match was pretty good.
Yep.
And
Yep.
see how long it takes.
Yep. I was gonna do that to my friend EJ yesterday, and I was watching it when he was coming over, and I had it on and I was leaving it on, and then like it got to a point he was like, who the hell are these guys? And I was like, well, there's a reason why I'm watching this, and I didn't want to be like, well, just watch and see, because like we were doing other things, so it might have got to the point where he was like, oh, I didn't even know that these were still the same two guys wrestling, but I wanted to. Then I was like, oh, they wrestled for 106 minutes, and he just looked at me like, what the hell? Are you kidding me? Yeah, man. Like, so I left it on, and even he was like, oh, this is pretty crazy. So,
all right, I'm gonna try to see. The only thing that's against me is that when she doesn't know who they are, she's very disinterested. Yeah. So that might be an issue.
Yeah,
but if it was like,
at least if you're just like, oh no, this is a good show. Like this one guy here is good. He's the champion in TNA.
I've seen her say that a 20-minute match is getting too long, so I'm really interested to see what happens.
I mean, it's good though because they brawl on the floor. They have like some run-ins. They do some other things. So it's not just straight arm locks and wrist locks and that kind of thing.
It's more
like a brawl. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's one of those things. If you're a wrestling fan, you owe it to yourself. You owe it to these guys. Just watch it.
I'm gonna take a look at it.
Yeah. It's. I don't know that'll ever. What if like the Young Bucks just like, all right, you know what? Just start having 2-hour matches every week. So just one show every month, just a 2-hour match.
Actually, it's perfect because it leads into a ROH. Did you see there's a new Super Card of Honor show coming up in a couple weeks? I don't know if they've been tweeting about it. Well, the Motor City Machine Guns have reformed after and it's actually going to be Young Bucks versus Machine Guns at this show. And I think I'm pretty excited about that.
You're pretty excited about that, huh? Well, I watched that 7 years ago on TNA, buddy. Yeah, ROH copying TNA. Look at that.
Oh, is that the one? Is that the thing that Hulk Hogan talked about? TNA?
Yeah. The thing that ROH is now copying? Yeah, no, Matt Jackson just posted it this morning, a clip of Motor City Machine Guns versus the Young Bucks in TNA.
Oh, really? Okay.
On like a ladder match, and they were on like the, remember how Edge and Christian won, I think, at WrestleMania, when like the ladder, there's 2 ladders, and then the table on top.
Yeah.
They were like that, and Saban threw Matt Jackson off through the table. And he grabbed the belts. So yeah, I mean, we said it when they formed, like this is going to be crazy and it'll be awesome to see.
I think that's going to be good. So this last week, you had the end of the top prospect tournament. Leo Rush, he won. I mean, he's like, he reminds me a lot of Gresham, who's been wrestling now.
Who?
Jermaine Gresham.
I don't know who that is. The name makes me think of S.A. Rios. Like that's just exactly how I picture him looking.
Well, Jermaine Gresham. Jermaine Gresham is like the
tight end for
Leo Rush. Well, no, I know what you're saying. Bengals? But like a non-heel Cedric Alexander, like they kind of have the same skill sets, So like the Leo Rush is just like another guy with this kind of like skill set, like jumping around and just kind of like really fun to watch. If you get a chance to watch it, he beat I believe his name was Brian Fury in the finals. Okay. It was like a 17-year vet.
Yeah, I'll check it out because I do like to see, if those guys become anything in ROH or anywhere else.
Yeah, I heard that Lucha Underground and I don't know how much you can believe it, but apparently that both Lucha Underground and WWE are interested in Leo Rush after seeing him in the tournament. So.
Oh well, who said that? Steve Corino?
No. Like a third-party source.
Oh, okay.
Like running on Dirt Sheet or something. And the other thing that happened the main event of the show was Christopher Daniels with Dalton Castle. And I mean, just Castle every time, every promo, I just like this guy more and more. And then he loses, and the entire time Silas Young was ringside. Silas gave his word that he wouldn't do anything, but Dalton loses more because Kazarian interfered. Like there was a wrench involved, whatever. Actually, Dalton Castle's finisher is the batarang, and it's kind of like he starts like an Alabama slammer, like he's got the guy up on his back and it's holding the legs.
Yeah.
And Kazarian pulled his leg, so then it led Daniels to fall into the perfect position to give basically the pedigree.
Okay.
And end the match. And then I was like, man, I was really bummed. And then you hear Silas Young get in the ring, and he's yelling, he's like, that's what you do. You always lose. You always lose. And then as he's going to the back, Dalton Castle's like, you know what? I do always lose. He goes, and he's like, I have been losing. He's like, and my plan is to get every major title I can. He goes, but with you around, I can't do that for some reason. He goes, so I want to have a fight without honor.
Yep.
Oh, in the beginning, the best was he's like, I'm losing, but I know I'm going to win because I'm fantastic. It's just, I can't with that guy, man.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
And I have to admit this on air. I hated him at first because I so much like Silas Young.
Silas.
That
he's
it bothered.
Just so good.
I remember we were at an event, I think, that Dalton Castle beat Silas, and I was like, "What's up with that, man? Silas Young is the man." And I remember throwing a streamer at him, and he just like, "No, get that shit away from me." He just batted it out of the air, and now they're gonna have this fight without honor. I guess spoilers.
I think it's like 3 weeks.
I mean, is it spoilers when you know that a guy has been saying something online? Is that a spoiler? I mean, I don't.
Yeah. Well, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Like Silas Young has talked about leaving.
Yeah, I mean, he basically has been tweeting about how he's going to be in Germany. He's actually going to be wrestling Drew McIntyre, or I forgot his new name.
Drew Galloway.
Drew Galloway over in Germany, and it looks like he's going to be there for a little bit. So,
but it literally means nothing. Like he can go there for a month or 3 months, and you don't miss anything on Ring of Honor TV.
Oh, okay. But I think it'll be a little more extended than that. I think, this is going to be a blow-off, and he's going to be away for a while.
He's going to go to Germany for half a year?
Maybe, bro. Why not?
That's kind of crazy.
Because
people don't go, like, they do tours, and then they come back.
Real men do it.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Well, didn't Jericho, say in his book that it was one of those things where they would sign for, I guess you're right, 3 months, 12 weeks.
Yeah, like they do something short, it's just a tour, and then they come back. But either way, like Ring of Honor, so you won't even know because so let's say he goes tomorrow, and then he comes back in 4 months. His match with Dalton Castle will be in a month, so it'll be like he's just there anyway. You won't even know. Maybe he comes back. Maybe he's in town when the pay-per-view happens, but a fight without honor is a bookend, so he could be gone for some time. Maybe he's done with the company for now, and maybe they don't have anything for him. Who knows? But it might not be the end of the line, and it probably is not.
Yeah, I hope to see him come back. I hope you're right.
He's definitely entertaining.
Because I really believe him. I don't know. I just believe that he feels this way about stuff.
Yep.
All right, and then we don't have any trivia this week. So remember, guys, if you want to send those trivia emails over to us, we had some weeks where we had a lot more than other weeks, so let's get back on that. And I guess that really wraps up the show. I can't even think about anything else.
No, yeah, that pretty much does it. Covered a lot.
All right.
Hopefully everyone listens to this and enjoys Roadblock.
Or you can listen to this tomorrow morning. See, don't worry. If you tune in Sunday and you're like, oh, this is just a Roadblock episode. No, you can listen to us be wrong about stuff, and then go over to our Twitter feed, send us an email, or go over to iTunes and look for Running Wild Podcast and leave a comment there and be like, these dudes were wrong about Roadblock. You know what? Do that. Give us a rating, whatever. Throw us a comment. We're fine with that. We can face the music. All right. So on that note, I just want to remind you guys that you've been brought The Running Wild podcast has been brought to you in partnership with thelastwordonsports.com. You can check out their radio channel. We're on that on iTunes. You can also subscribe to listen to episodes of us on Wrestling to the Max Network. You can also, sorry, I'm being distracted here.
I'm just throwing out every hand signal I've seen on TV in the past 2 months.
I was very confused. I thought something was going on.
It was the Wyatts, this weird upside down 4, which I don't know, is that like a vulture or the buzzard or something? And then the elite of the Too Sweet.
I just like when the Young Bucks go too sweet, and they actually they're chanting with their hands. All right, you can follow us on our Twitter at Running Wild LWOS. You can also send us emails, runningwildpodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you go check out Wrestling to the Max Network over on Facebook, and actually go to lastwordonsports.com, the wrestling section. And check out some of my latest articles. If you like reading, if you're into that sort of thing. All right. Well, with that, I just want to remind you guys that you have been listening to the podcast that is just too sweet.